everybody. So this is episode 7, part 7 on YouTube. On TikTok, I think we're at 28. And as a reminder, I am doing this for all of us Dominicans born and raised outside of the island so that we can better understand our culture, our history, and who we are as a people. And in this part, even though it's going to be pretty short, I'm going to talk about El Cacique Guatiguaná. And the reason I feel that I need to cover him separately is because he gave Colon a hard time. And so I think that he deserves his own space and that we can enjoy the results of his resistance. Guatiguaná first makes his appearance in 1494. Many have written that he was a Macorís and he was a cacique in his own right. His yucayeque was on the shores of el río Yaque. And it is believed that La Fortaleza de la Magdalena, which is the number 6 here on this map, it's believed that this fortress was built in his territory. La Magdalena was part of a series of fortresses that Colón established because he realized that the indigenous people were not nice. It is a myth that they cooperated and they were docile, and that's a lie. All these fortresses that you see here was because the indigenous people constantly attacked. And this fortress is a vital part of Guatiguaná's story. It was at this fortress that Fray Ramón Pané first arrived and where he learned the Macorís language, which was the first indigenous language ever learned by a European. But shortly after establishing La Magdalena, Colón goes back to La Isabela. And then from there, he wasn't there even a week when he heard that his 2 new fortresses had been attacked. And who was the cacique that was threatening La Magdalena? It was Guatiguaná. So in order to stop this rebellion, he sent Ojeda, the same man who later on would capture Caunab. We know by now that the indigenous people never acted on just mere cause, just because they wanted to. There was always a reason. And the reason that Guatiguaná was so violent against these people, these Spanish people that were living in his area, was because they were robbing their women, robbing their food, and also violating their women. Pedro Martí says that the Spanish, in Colón's absence, were kidnapping women of the island under the eyes of their parents, brothers, and husbands, rape and robberies. So as the chaos commenced around La Magdalena, those inside, including el alcalde de la Fortaleza, or the man in charge of the fortress, his name was Luis de Arega, y el mismo Fray Ramón Pané, were now trapped inside the fortress because of Guatiguaná's attacks. So in order to stop Guatiguaná's continuous attacks on La Magdalena, Colón ordered a surprise attack on Guatiguaná. We don't know if Alonso de Ojeda himself captured Guatiguaná, but when he went to rescue La Magdalena, he managed to capture El Cacique and 2 other caciques of the area. Because Guatiguaná was not only attacking La Magdalena, he was also attacking all Spanish settlers that he could find. So all the prisoners were bound and tied up with rope and taken to La Fortaleza de la Magdalena. The original structure of La Magdalena was made of wood. And since La Magdalena was abandoned a couple of years later, we don't have anything from it, not even ruins. But Guatiguaná and the other caciques were taken to this wooden fortress, still bound, still tied, and left there. They were then taken to trial, as they always did, and as always found guilty and sentenced to be shot to death. But before they could be taken to be unalived, they had escaped. They chewed through the ropes and got out. Colón could not believe what he was being told. What? They escaped? They chewed through the ropes? You got to be kidding me. But it was true. They had managed to all free themselves and escape the fate that he had designed for them.